Hey, I'm Whitney, and this is Jenna.
And we don't want to work out.
Like ever. So we started this podcast to create a welcoming and approachable environment where showing up is the hardest part.
All right, let's get started. All right, welcome to our hip stretch and strengthen. So today we are going to focus all on our hips. Before we get into our workout, I do just want to kind of go over a little bit why it's so important to take care of your hips and why it's important to both stretch and strengthen your hips out. So basically, one of the big reasons is that everything in your body connects, right? Your appendages ultimately connect to your hips. Your torso connects to your hips, your legs connect to your hips, your back muscles connect to your hips. Okay, so any time you have any tightness or pain in your back, it's usually because your hips are tight. And same thing with the legs. If anybody gets a lot of leg cramps, stuff like that, it's typically because our hips are tight. And I think from all the years of coaching and training people, I've noticed that tight hips is just almost everybody has tight hips. So it's for injury prevention. Over time, as you get older, your hip bones and your tendons, the tendons that actually connect everything, your hips actually weaken. And the reason for that is not just because like, oh, I'm getting old and I'm getting weak. That's actually not what it is. It's because your hips absorb more shock than anywhere else in your body. So they really take a beating throughout the course of like our everyday life, whether you're an, ultra marathoner or you go on a 20-minute walk every day, your hips are taking the brunt of all of that. So it's really important to just kind of really take good care of them. Also, your hip muscles, they support your pelvis and your core, which is just kind of your foundation in general. And having strong hips helps us to maintain our posture. So many reasons why it's important. So let's get right into our warm-up, and then we will do stretch and strengthen workouts. So we're going to stretch and then we're going to strengthen. We'll just keep alternating back and forth. All right, so for our warm-up, okay, we're going to start with a Frankenstein walk. All right, so with this walk, you're just going to stick your arms straight out, all right? And you're just going to keep your legs nice and straight, and you're going to just bring one leg up to tap the hand. Same foot,
Ooh.
Same hand. Yeah, so let's go 10 on each side. So 20 all together. Just take your time here, nice and slow. And if you can't reach your foot up to your hand, that's okay. Just lift your leg up as much as you can. Keep it straight. And this is going to warm up your hips. Nice and good. Ooh, it's raining out.
Yeah, I wish it was raining out here. We're having a heat wave.
Oh man, you must be.
It's definitely 80 degrees here.
Yeah, we had that yesterday. It was so weird.
And my aunt is on the West Coast, and she sent me a picture this morning of snow. So I don't know what's happening. We're all
wow.
It's madness.
It's snowing in California. It's raining in New England, and it's 80 in October in the South.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I guess maybe that's more normal for the South, but not.
Yeah,
not
a little bit.
normal.
I know. I shouldn't be complaining. Yeah. 80's a lot better than it was.
Yeah. I know. But you know what? Call me a traditionalist. I want fall to be fall. I want summer to be summer. I want winter to be winter. Yeah. Okay, let's get into our second warm-up exercise here. We're going to do hip circles. So we're just going to stand on one leg, and we're just going to swing that other leg around. You can do big circles. You can do small circles.
You can also hold on to the wall.
Yes. Yes, you can. Good point. Thanks for mentioning it.
You're welcome.
Yes, because the point of this is to warm your hips up, not to fall over. If hip circles prove to be a little too tough in general, you can also just kind of, raise your leg off to the side and just kind of do something like that. As long as you're just getting some motion in here with your legs going out laterally. That's going to warm it up. Let's switch to the other leg.
I find I must not have as much hip strength as I would have predicted, because even during the warm-up, the more I do it, the more of a weaker position I put myself in because I fatigue so quick. So I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, it's everybody overlooks their hips, like, like everybody, even elite athletes, they overlook their hips. Like, it's just one of those things. I coached Division I rowing for years, and this was like the main point of weakness in all those girls. Okay, there we go for our warm up, and by girls I mean women because they are college age. So, okay, all right, let's get into this workout. All right, so. What we're going to do, like I said, we'll stretch and then we'll strengthen it. We'll just keep going back and forth. We're going to start in our stretch and we're going to do everything for 1 minute each. And we'll just have a couple seconds of transition time in between each exercise to get set up for the next one. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, okay, is we're going to lay flat on the floor. And we're just going to get those arms down to our side. All right. And we're just going to hug one knee into the chest. And then you can pick your arms up and wrap them around your knee and just kind of pull it into the chest. Try to keep your leg aligned as you do this. Try to not let your knee flare out to the side. That is the tendency. And the tighter your hips are, the more you're going to want to flare out to the side. All right. So if it hurts too much, then don't hug it in as hard. Let's switch to the other leg. And Whitney, you had said this in another video, but it was a really good point. When you hit that point of resistance and you feel like you would have to really push to get past it, don't. Just sit there. Sit at that point and just breathe. Just kind of hugging that knee in. All right. And then what we're going to do is pull both knees up and we're going to hug both knees in. And this should be a nice lower back release. Really just kind of stretching out through the back of the leg here. And then from here, if you want to, you can reach in between your legs, grab your toes, and come into like a happy baby. This is a yoga happy baby position. And now you can kind of spread those knees apart a little bit and just kind of pull down on those toes and just kind of push the knees down to the ground and just really open up through those hips here.
I love this.
Yeah, happy baby.
I know I've done yoga before and I've heard of happy baby, but I'm not sure I've done this, and I am happy.
Yeah, right. I actually feel pretty content. Maybe this is just one of those things where it's like a little primal, Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this is the kind of thing that's so relaxing, and maybe we can incorporate this into one of our other workouts that I have in mind right now, but I will not mention. Yeah. All right. All right. And just shake the legs a little bit here. Just kind of shake them. All right. And this might feel a little awkward, but that's okay. Just shake them and just kind of loosen those hips up. Whew. All right. You ready to get into it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Oh, that was our first stretch. I just got lost in that. I forgot we were already into it.
No, that was a great stretch. That's okay. That was great.
Okay, good. Yeah,
that was for real. Get into it.
Yeah, that was a hybrid from our warm up into our stretch. Sorry, everyone. I know that was far more than a minute, but no harm done. Okay, now we'll go into our first strengthen exercise. So these are going to be single leg deadlifts. Okay, this is the kind of thing that you can do with a weight in your hands, but you absolutely do not need a weight. I'm not going to use one because we're just doing what we have here, which is nothing. So, all right, so you're going to stand on one leg. Okay, actually, I'm going to face the camera.
Is the leg we're standing on, is it going to stay straight or bend a little bit?
Just a small bend in the knee, okay? Don't lock your knees out, all right? And then you're going to send that back leg out, and you're just going to lean down, maybe touch your toes to the ground, and then stand back up. All right, so we'll get into this for 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Are we on one side for one? Okay, thank you.
Yep, you got it. All right, here we go. Wait until my timer gets to a good point and go. Okay. I don't want to have to do math from 25 seconds or anything. No. All right, take your time here, okay? And this is the kind of thing where if you're feeling a lack of balance on that one leg, you're feeling really shaky, it's totally okay to just dip down as far as you can. All right, you don't have to go all the way down to the ground. This is going to feel like a really tough, a lot of hard work on that leg that's planted onto the ground. Switch sides. Probably going to start burning right away. And you want to keep that back leg straight. All right, and just try to resist the urge to turn, to turn inward. Try to keep everything in a straight line here. Just really controlling your way down and controlling your way back up. We've got 5 seconds here, so just like one more. Okay. Next, we're going to do a butterfly stretch. So we're back to the stretch. All right, so we'll just sit down. We'll bring the feet together, and we'll stay here for 1 minute. We're on. So here,
I've told you this. Oh, no, you go first, and then I'm going to tell you what I was going to say.
All I was going to say is you just kind of want to have the feet together like a book, but if you want to, you can also open that book. So you can pry the feet apart and press those knees down.
I was going to say, I know I told you before, but in gymnastics, when I was really little, we used to say, where do you want to go? And the first person would always say, Disneyland. And then the second person would always really downgrade, and they would go, McDonald's. And those are the only places we went.
Disney and McDonald's. That sounds
That's
about
right. The only thing that was important. And you know what? Disney still is. So.
Hey, man, when we were kids, McDonald's was pretty good too. They had those big play things,
Yep. I loved it because they had their onions on their cheeseburgers were tiny. So it tricked me into eating them, but that was okay. They were delicious.
Yeah, there's nothing that doesn't taste good at McDonald's. Whether it's good for you or not is up for debate, but it all tastes good. Okay. All right, that's it. Although I do think they're doing a lot better these days on the nutrition front. Okay. This one, you're going to want to grab a chair for, or if you don't have a chair, you can sit on the side of your bed or just sit on the side of anything, really. All right. This is a really nice strengthening exercise for your hip flexors. All right. So you're just going to drive one knee up while keeping the other foot flat on the ground. All right. We'll do this for 1 minute and we're on. Something that I want to mention that's really important here about your posture is you want to make sure that you're sitting up really tall when you're doing this. And you want to make sure that your pelvis is not tilted backwards and that you're not sitting on your tailbone. If you are, tilt your hips forward and get off that tailbone and sit on your sit bones or your butt bones. Just kind of tilt it forward like you're a little kid that's like eager to get called on, like that type of a position. And that one thing right there, the way that you sit and having your pelvis tilted forward, is sometimes all the difference that it makes to take somebody from being a novice rower to a varsity rower. Yeah. Little secret right there. All right. We've got about 3 seconds. We'll just do like 1 or 2 more here. I love this one because you can do this anywhere. If you sit all day for work, no reason you can't, get a good 20 in on each side and just strengthen those hips right up. Okay, back to the stretch. We're going to do a thread the needle. So we're going to lay down on our backs. We're going to bring one knee across. All right, rest our ankle on the other knee. Reach your hands through the gap there and pull that knee into your body, and you're going to feel that stretch all along the back of your leg and kind of like on your butt, the gluteus muscles there.
Yes, immediately I felt it. This one, I've never just sat here comfortably in this position.
No, I agree. This is, if you have tight hips, and we all do, this is one that you're really going to feel. So again, don't push past that resistance point. I don't want anyone to pull a back muscle or anything like that. Just get to that resistance point and then just breathe. Sometimes I think breathing into these stretches really can help us deepen the stretch without straining. Let's switch sides. And I don't know about you, Whitney, but I notice a big difference from one side to the other.
Which side are you on now? Because I can't see you because I'm on my left and I can barely see my fingers on my knee.
That's so funny. Yeah, for me, it's my right. No rhyme or reason to that there. I think but everybody does favor a side. Most people do that. Yeah. Especially if you're on your feet all day for work, which we both are, you're definitely going to notice an imbalance
and
here.
I try to stand with my hips even when I realize I'm standing leaning to one side. I try to fix it right away, but it's just so hard to change the habit.
Oh, it's so especially when you're not. Yeah, especially, and usually just not paying attention to. But that's why hip strengthening is so good, because it helps us to balance out the hips without having to think too much about it.
Yeah.
All right. A couple more seconds here. Let's just get one more deep breath in, just a nice breathe into it, and then breathe out of it. Okay. Woo, come out of that one nice and easy. All right, and we'll get into our next exercise, which is going to be called donkey kicks. All right, so for these, we're going to get onto all fours. All right, and we're going to keep both hands planted on the ground. If this hurts your wrists, just go on your fists. Either way is fine. All right, and you're gonna kick one leg out, and then we'll just hold it for a couple seconds, and then we'll slowly bring it in, and then we'll kick the other leg out. We'll go for a minute. All right, and 3, 2, 1, start. So hold, and I'm not going to count the hold or anything. You just kick it out, hold, and then come back in. And as you do this, when you hold, squeeze the butt muscle, squeeze the glute when you hold. And that really helps to maintain. And if it helps, you can also feel like, picture yourself placing that foot flat on a wall as you squeeze your glute, and you'll get in all the right muscles there.
Yeah, I didn't have as good of balance until you told me to squeeze my glutes. And then I got my balance right back.
Yes, the glutes are, again, I don't mean to keep bringing it up rowing, but when it comes to hips, for me, there's so much about it. And just squeezing those glutes is like one of the most stabilizing things you can do through the rowing posture, but also just through, or even just every day.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of issues. I threw my back out once weightlifting for rowing, but I was lucky enough to not get injured because of the repetitive motion. And I'm lucky for that, but I wonder how much more I could have improved if I had done the exercises we know about now. Because I feel like back then you didn't necessarily have the information or the whys. Why are you doing this?
No, I don't think there was a lot of emphasis on hip mobility at all. In fact, that came more towards like 2010 and after, I noticed. But prior to 2010, when you and I rode, there was very little on it.
There was very much kind of suck it up and work it out, work through it.
Yeah, and just do more squats. Yeah. Okay. All right, our next one is going to be pigeon pose. Okay, so this is going to be like a figure 4 stretch. So I'm going to give a couple different options here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come sort of on all fours. You're going to bring one leg up, all right, and you're going to cross the ankle. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this. Maybe just look at the camera if you can. Cross that front leg over, send that back leg out. Okay, so you kind of have your leg in a figure 4 position here with the back leg out, okay? And this is pigeon, all right? And you can stay here, or you can sink your body down over your front knee. But again, don't pull anything, don't strain yourself. This is one of those ones where your body's gonna let you know real quick where the limit is. And the limit does exist.
If this is uncomfortable and I need to change positions but continue to stretch, how should I change positions?
Yeah, I would say then come into a figure 4 with that back leg forward, and you can just kind of cross the leg over there, right? Put that front leg on top of your knee and stretch it that way. That's significantly going to reduce the resistance. All right, so we'll stay here for a little bit longer than a minute just so we can really find where it works and get into this stretch. This stretch right here is like huge for your hips. If you can get into this pigeon pose and just sit in it for a few seconds, or the figure four, it's really going to open up your hips.
All right, I got some news.
Yeah.
So when we were doing it like this, but stretching just now, the figure, wait, what did you call it?
Oh, I called it thread the needle.
When we were doing thread the needle and the side that I could barely hold was up, it's weird because it's the same leg that is bent and up, but I can go much deeper on this side. I don't know what the correlation is there.
Well, I mean, I think maybe it's just being over top of the leg as opposed to having the leg over you. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, I think.
Yeah, and it's kind of a slightly different rotation.
Yes, yeah. And if you haven't already switched sides, go ahead and do so. I already did, just forgot to mention it. So we'll go ahead and switch sides. Again, this is the kind of one where I don't want to time it. I actually just want people to really take their time in this. This is the pinnacle hip stretch of the workout. And something I do also want to point out, that front leg, okay, I don't know if you can see me here, right? But you can have that foot in, okay, at more of an angle, and that helps if it's really, really tight. Or if you want to bring that ankle out, yeah, if you press that ankle forward a little bit, it's really going to deepen the stretch. We'll go like 10 more seconds wherever you're at, and then we'll go on to the next exercise. Oh, yeah. The more you rotate your body around, you're gonna find where the limit is on that one real quick. Okay. All right. We'll get into our next exercise, which is going to be single leg bridges. And this is a strengthening one. So we're going to get onto our backs, hands down to our sides. If you need more stability and support, put your hands out wider, or you can put them right next to your body, whatever is better for you. You're going to send one leg up into the air, and then you're going to push your hips up through the heel of your foot that's planted on the ground, and then slowly come down. We'll go 30 seconds on each side right here. So push it up, slowly let it come down. Don't let your butt slam down on the ground. Control it all the way down. You're really just kind of thinking about driving the hips up to the ceiling on this one. Just kind of drive them up, kind of like explode up, and then control down. 5 more seconds on this side, and then we'll switch. And switch. Right, other leg up. Drive up through that hip. Slowly down. We're going 30 seconds on this side. 10 more seconds left.
I'm concentrating.
Yeah, me too. And drop. Okay. All right. And next is going to be a stretch. We're going to come into a yogi squat. So essentially, it's going to be a very, very deep squat. So you're going to kind of stand with your legs shoulder width apart, toes pointing outward a little bit, not straight. Just let them kind of flare out. Put your hands together. And then you're just going to sink your hips and your butt down all the way until you kind of drop into it. Yeah, and you don't have to really press yourself up. This isn't really a squat hold. This is more just like a sit. And I'll go sideways to show what that is.
I know, I went sideways to try to demonstrate it, but I'm having trouble finding the right. There we go.
There you go. Yep. And
my hips, man, I had no idea until we started this how bad of shape my hips were in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tightness. Like we really abuse. Well, we don't abuse them. We just use them nonstop. Well, maybe there's a little abuse. You can also push your knees out a little bit too on this one if you want. That'll give you a little bonus hip opening if you just push your knees out, or just let them stay neutral. That's fine. And again, if this is something that really hurts, skip it. Just go into a butterfly. No need to injure. We have one more strengthening exercise after this, and then I think we'll probably just do a couple stretches just to make sure everyone's okay. All right, drop. Come out of that one nice and slow. Definitely like puts a lot of strain. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This one I'm really excited about. So up until today, I never even knew about this. I actually found this one when I was just kind of browsing on the internet. And this is was suggested for runners, but I mean, this was obviously good for everybody. If you have a yoga block, grab that if you want to pause the video right now and go get something like that. I don't have a yoga block, but what I do have is this big, thick Edgar Allan Poe book. So I'm just going to use this. I'm going to stand on it. And there you go. Whitney's got her Smithsonian Birds book, which is pretty cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do here is you're going to stand on the book or the block or whatever you have here. All right, anything, just not your dog, you know, book or block. Hands on the hips, okay? And what you're going to do is the foot that's not on the book or the block, you're going to tilt your hips to the side and you're going to slowly lower that foot until it touches the ground. And then you're going to tilt your hips the other way and raise that foot all the way up as high as you can. And then you're going to tilt back down to the ground. And you just kind of keep going back and forth there on one side, and then we'll switch for the other side.
Awesome. So, 2 points I want to make really quick is you can do this next to a wall if you can't balance. And the second one, if you don't have much range of motion, get a small book.
There you go. Yeah, get a smaller book. That's a great point. Yeah. And this is the type of thing that the range of motion will increase over time. The more you pay attention to your hips opening and strengthening them, I think this one would be the real test of progress on that. All right, let's go one more on this side and then we'll switch to the other side. Okay. Switch it up here. See, books aren't just for reading. This one, like, I feel this one so hard, like right where the love handles are. I don't know how else to best describe that region, but
yeah, no, I would say that's where mine is too. I was going to say in the hips, but yeah, it's actually high hip, love handle region.
Yes, yeah, which there's a whole band of muscles underneath there, you know, and I think that's what this one is pretty directly focused on, which is nice.
Yeah.
All right, really taking our time with this, slowly lowering, raising, just really tilting the hips. Oh, there's the cat. Can you hear him?
Barely.
Okay. He is hitting the door. Yeah. He's decided that this has been quite enough. All right, let's just do like one more. Nice and slow. My other leg is really burning too, the one that I'm balancing on the book.
Oh, that one actually is wait, that's the one that hurts the most.
Yeah.
On me?
Well, I feel it on both sides for sure, but yeah, that leg is burning all the way up and down. Okay, That's it. So we can just do a nice little cool down here, and I think we should, because that workout taxed the hips quite a lot. I can really feel it. Yeah, I like what you're doing there. The sponge.
Oh, bringing it around now. Yeah. That's
right. Bring it around town. Oh my God, that is so funny. That's great. I'm so glad that you did this. In fact, I have a prop. Keep going. I just have to grab something real quick. We're going to bring it around town.
Oh my gosh. I wish I had something to bring over.
I have a whole sheet set, pillows.
know.
Look, when you grow up in the 90s, it is what it is.
Look, I would have Avenger sheets if they weren't so expensive.
Oh my gosh, I know. They're taking advantage of us.
Yeah.
Oh, we can get some nice side stretches in here. So again, just to bring it back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video, even as you go through these stretches, like the side stretch is typically thought of as a core stretch, but since your core attaches to your hips, it's also a hip stretch. So just send that hip out as far as you can and really, really lean into this one. It's so good. Your hips will thank you later.
Have I told you my parents have started falling? They're like,
oh no.
They like just hit an age where their balance is off. I'm thinking this would be so good for them. My mom falls all the time.
Oh my gosh, your mom is like doesn't yeah, that's too bad to hear. I feel like she doesn't strike me as
very scary.
Type. Yeah, no, really.
Yeah, but and even no matter what makes my parents fall, the recovery time, no matter how they fall, my dad fell down the steps, my mom falls off the ladder. It's such a hard recovery, even if it's bumps and bruises. It's such a hard thing.
Oh yeah,
and they're young. They're 60. They're not old.
No, they're not. I know. That's what I was just thinking. Like, how can that be? Your parents are young and like relatively.
I'll tell you how that can be is they don't do this and they haven't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like consistently have not done this their whole lives. So
yeah,
I think there's a good place to start.
There's a good PSA for core and hip strength.
Yes.
And that's what we mean by injury prevention, I guess. It's just injury from everyday life, like as you get older, life gets treacherous. So, but I'm glad they're okay, right? Like,
yeah, they're okay. They're okay.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
No regret, I suppose.
Oh boy. Oh, I was just looking at your mom's Facebook the other day, so I have a fresh image of her in my mind.
She's still as cute as can be and always wearing something cute.
I was literally just going to say that. She's cute. She is such a cutie pie. She always has the best hair. You know? Yeah, she's really into it. Oh, okay. Well, that was good. You feel good?
Thank you for joining us today. This podcast is hosted by Jenna Hetzel and Whitney Fopp. If you're interested in custom workouts, please contact us at idon'twannaworkoutpodcast@gmail.com. Workouts are now and always will be free to anyone who wants to give it a shot. You can find us on YouTube video podcasts, I Don't Want to Work Out Podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, I Don't Want to Work Out Podcasts. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us today. This podcast is hosted by Jenna and Whitney. If you're interested in custom workouts, please contact us at idon'twannaworkoutpodcast@gmail.com. Workouts are now and always will be free to anyone who wants to give it a shot. You can find us on YouTube video podcasts, I Don't Want to Work Out Podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, I Don't Want to Work Out Podcasts. We'll see you next time.